Hello and welcome. This is Notibot ENG. In a week marked by escalating tensions in the Middle East, global markets are on edge as the Iran-US conflict continues to simmer. We'll take a look at the U.S. states where gas prices are surging fastest under Trump's administration, while also exploring Iran's plans for maintaining control over the Strait of Hormuz. Additionally, we'll examine potential opportunities for a Ukraine truce during Russia's upcoming May 9th victory parade, and assess pressure on Putin to escalate the conflict. Let's get started with our news recap. As tensions escalate between Iran and the United States, Americans are feeling the pinch at the pump, with some states experiencing record-breaking gas price spikes. In an escalating standoff between the United States and Iran, tensions have reached a boiling point after U.S. President Donald Trump vowed to maintain a naval blockade on the Islamic Republic. This decision has sent shockwaves through global markets, with oil prices surging to historic highs. The conflict centers around Iran's nuclear program, which the U.S. claims is a threat to regional stability. The country's supreme leader Mojtaba Khamenei has dismissed the prospects of a deal, vowing not to give up Iran's nuclear capabilities and signaling that Tehran will continue to develop its missile technology. The move by Trump comes as the global economy is already grappling with rising oil prices. West Texas Intermediate, the main U.S. crude marker, rallied toward $111 a barrel on Thursday, while Brent, the global benchmark, topped $126. The price surge has been attributed to increased tensions in the Middle East and concerns over supply disruptions. As the situation continues to unfold, world leaders are watching with bated breath. European powers, including France, Germany, and the UK, have called for de-escalation and a return to diplomatic talks. However, Trump remains resolute in his stance, vowing to protect U.S. interests in the region. The implications of this standoff are far-reaching, with potential consequences for global energy markets, economic stability, and regional security. As the situation continues to unfold, one thing is clear. The world will be watching closely as the United States and Iran navigate this delicate and volatile crisis. As tensions in the Middle East escalate, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is making it clear his country will not relinquish control of a critical waterway. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei has signaled a plan to maintain control over the strategic Strait of Hormuz, which connects the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman. In a statement released by his office, Khamenei announced that Iran would establish new legal frameworks for the waterway, a move that could potentially limit access for other nations. Khamenei's comments come amid heightened tensions between Iran and Western countries over its nuclear program. The U.S. and European allies have long been concerned about Iran's nuclear ambitions, with many seeing them as a threat to regional stability. However, Khamenei has repeatedly stated that his country will retain its nuclear capabilities under any circumstances. The Strait of Hormuz is a critical shipping route for oil exports from the Middle East, and control over it could have significant implications for global energy markets. Any attempt by Iran to restrict access to the strait could lead to economic sanctions and increased tensions with major powers. The international community has long relied on the U.S. Navy's presence in the region to ensure safe passage through the waterway. Khamenei's comments are seen as a further escalation of Iran's hardline stance against its critics, both domestically and internationally. With the U.S. and European allies showing little willingness to compromise with Tehran, it remains to be seen whether Khamenei's plans for the Strait of Hormuz will come to fruition. As Russia's largest military anniversary approaches, a fragile peace process in eastern Ukraine may gain momentum, with leaders hinting at potential ceasefire talks. A recent phone call between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin has sparked renewed interest in the possibility of a ceasefire in Ukraine. The 90-minute conversation, initiated by Russia, discussed various global issues including the Iran war and the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. According to reports from both sides, Putin told Trump that the current ceasefire in Iran was beneficial for negotiations, suggesting that a similar arrangement could be reached in Ukraine. Russia's formal offer to mediate came as a surprise to some, following recent visits by Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi to Moscow. The discussion turned to Ukraine, reportedly at Trump's initiative, with Putin proposing to implement a ceasefire during Russia's Victory Day celebrations on May 9th. This year's parade is notable for not featuring any military hardware, including tanks or missiles, in a bid to present a more unified front against Western sanctions. The implications of this development are significant, as the US and its allies have traditionally boycotted Russia's Victory Day parades and Immortal Regiment remembrance events following the Ukraine war. The lack of an official invitation to Trump for this year's parade is also noteworthy, with some speculating that it may be a deliberate snub. The prospect of a ceasefire in Ukraine has been met with skepticism by some, given Russia's track record on the issue. However, the fact that Putin has offered to mediate suggests that Moscow is willing to engage in diplomatic efforts, at least for now. The outcome of these talks remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. The world will be watching the events leading up to Russia's Victory Day celebrations with great interest. As tensions in Eastern Europe continue to simmer, Vladimir Putin faces mounting pressure from Russia's own citizens and allies over a crucial escalation in Ukraine. Russian hawks are losing patience as pressure builds on Vladimir Putin to escalate the conflict in Ukraine. The mounting frustration within Russia's war party and growing Western support for Ukraine has created a perfect storm that is increasing tensions between Moscow and NATO. The situation took a turn for the worse last week when Russia launched a massive attack on Ukrainian airfields, destroying dozens of fighter jets and causing widespread destruction. The move was widely condemned by Western leaders, who have accused Putin of attempting to intimidate Ukraine into surrendering its sovereignty. As the conflict rages on, Russian President Vladimir Putin is under growing pressure from hardline factions within his government to take a more aggressive stance against Ukraine. According to sources close to the Kremlin, Putin is being urged to launch a major military operation in Ukraine, which could potentially draw in NATO forces. The stakes are high because if Russia were to escalate its involvement, it could lead to a broader conflict involving all of Europe and beyond. The US and other Western nations have made it clear that they will not tolerate Russian aggression on Ukrainian soil and are preparing for the possibility of a major confrontation. If Putin were to give in to the pressure from his hardline advisors, it could be disastrous for Russia's international reputation and economy. Conversely, if he refuses to escalate, it could embolden Ukraine's pro-Russian separatists, further destabilizing the region. The situation is delicate and fluid, with no clear outcome in sight. As global tensions escalate in the Middle East, the escalating Iran conflict is fueling a surge in oil prices to their highest level in nearly 4 years tonight. The ongoing Iran war has pushed oil prices to a 4-year high, with the average price of gas hitting $4.39 a gallon in the US. This significant increase is largely due to the severe curtailment of crude oil shipments through the Strait of Hormuz, which remains nearly closed, and the U.S. continuing its blockade of Iranian ports. Iran's 90 million people have been cut off from the internet for most of 2026, one of the world's longest and strictest national shutdowns. This decision has devastating effects on the online economy, where many industries such as fashion, fitness, advertising, and retail have seen their incomes evaporate. Despite an uneasy truce with the US and Israel, Iran's rulers have refused to reverse the shutdown, which they depict as a wartime necessity. The internet cutoff cost the economy an estimated $30 to $40 million daily, with indirect losses likely twice that amount. Around 10 million people have jobs that depend on internet connectivity, according to Communications Minister Sattar Hashemi. The situation has sparked an outcry, particularly from small businesses and entrepreneurs who are struggling to survive without access to the global web. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei has vowed to protect the Islamic Republic's nuclear and missile capabilities, which President Trump has sought to curtail through airstrikes, and is part of a wider deal to cement the war's shaky ceasefire. The situation remains tense, with Iran refusing to reverse its shutdown despite mounting economic losses. That's all for today's recap. Your name, your source for global news. We'll keep you updated on the latest developments in Iran, Russia, Ukraine, and beyond. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so now to stay informed about the issues that matter most. Don't miss our next episode. We'll bring you more breaking news from around the world.